The sun had become her enemy. Abigail Carter's boots dragged through sand that felt like broken glass beneath her shredded soles. 3 days, maybe 4. Time had melted into a haze of thirst and terror, each hour bleeding into the next until she could barely remember her own name. She could still hear the screams. The wagon train had been 12 families strong when they camped in the valley. By dawn, only smoke and silence remained. Abigail had hidden beneath her family's overturned wagon, watching through a crack as figures moved through the carnage. She'd seen feathers, bar paint, heard words in a language that turned her blood to ice. When they finally left, she'd run. Now her lips were cracked and bleeding. Her tongue sat thick and useless in her mouth. The landscape wavered before her eyes, golden sand dancing with shadows that might have been real or might have been death coming to claim her. She stumbled, fell to her knees, pushed herself up again, just a little farther. But her legs had other plans. They folded beneath her like paper, and Abigail crashed face first into the sand. She tried to rise, managed to roll onto her back, staring up at a sky so blue it hurt. This is where I die, she thought, alone, like Mama, like Papa, like little Grace. The sky dimmed, not sunset, something else. Shapes moved above her, blocking out the light. Voices spoke in that same strange language from the massacre. Strong hands gripped her arms. No, please. She tried to scream, but nothing came out except the dry rasp. Darkness took her. Chief Mato stood over the white woman's unconscious body, his weathered face unreadable. Around him, his warriors formed a tight circle, hands on weapons, eyes hard with judgment. "Kill her now," Takoda said, his voice sharp as flint. The young warrior's hand rested on his knife. "Before she wakes, before she brings more of her people down on us. She's nearly dead already," Chayton added, spitting into the sand. "Let the desert finish what it started." Mato crouched beside the woman, studying her sunburned face, her torn clothing, her bleeding feet. She couldn't have been more than 20 winters. Young, desperate, running from something. Or someone. "Winona," he called. His daughter stepped forward, her expression neutral but her eyes questioning. He learned long ago to trust her father's instincts, even when they defied logic. "Bring water," Mato said. "Prepare the healing tent." The circle of warriors erupted. "You cannot be serious." Takoda's voice rose above the others. "Her people murder ours without mercy. They take our land, break every treaty, and you would save one of them?" Mato stood slowly, his full height commanding silence. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of 20 years leading his people through war and peace, loss and survival. "I would know why she runs. I would know what she's seen." He paused, his dark eyes sweeping across each face. "And I would not become the monster our enemies claim we are." The words hung in the desert air like smoke. Winona disappeared toward the camp. The warriors remained frozen, watching their chief, waiting. Beneath them all, Abigail Carter breathed, unaware that her life balanced on the edge of a blade called mercy. 12 men sat in a circle inside Mato's lodge, their faces carved from stone and shadow. The air smelled of sage smoke and old anger. Takoda spoke first, his words rapid and cutting. "We are not a rescue mission for white settlers. Every day, more of them cross our lands. They slaughter buffalo by the thousands, leaving the meat to rot. They dig into the earth for yellow metal, poisoning our water. They sign treaties with one hand and load rifles with the other." He leaned forward, firelight dancing in his eyes. "And you want to save one?" Murmurs of agreement rippled through the circle. Chayton stood, his massive frame blocking the lodge's entrance. "My cousin was killed last winter by cavalry soldiers. They shot him in the back while he hunted, left him in the snow like garbage." His voice cracked. His wife still weeps. His children still ask when their father is coming home. "Tell me, Mato, what mercy did those white men show him?" Mato listened without interruption, letting each man's pain fill the space between them. He understood their rage, felt it himself, burning in his chest like swallowed coals. But rage without wisdom was just another way to destroy your own people. "I do not ask you to forget," he said quietly. "I do not ask you to forgive. I ask you to see what I see." "And what is that?" Takoda challenged. "A woman running from her own people, alone." Dying. Mato's gaze swept the circle. Whatever she ran from, it terrified her more than dying in the desert. That means something, Chayton said. White people fight among themselves all the time. Their quarrels are not our concern. An older warrior named Hanska cleared his throat. The council fell silent out of respect for his years. Perhaps we should ask why she runs, if she wakes. He paused. If she lives, she could tell us what happened to her wagon train. That information might be valuable. Abigail woke to the sound of children laughing. The noise seemed impossible, wrong somehow, like hearing bird song in a graveyard. She struggled to sit up, every muscle in her body screaming protest. Through the tent's opening, she could see Lakota children chasing each other between lodges. Their joy so ordinary it made her chest ache. Grace had laughed like that before. You should not move so quickly. Abigail's head snapped toward the voice. Winona entered carrying a wooden bowl that steamed with something that smelled like meat and herbs. Behind her came an older woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that missed nothing. "This is Mato Luta, my grandmother," Winona said, setting the bowl beside Abigail. "She wants to see the white woman who has caused such trouble." The grandmother circled Abigail slowly, studying her like a specimen. When she spoke, her English was heavily accented but clear. Small, weak, barely alive. She snorted. "This is what my grandson risked our peace for. I didn't ask to be saved," Abigail said, voice hoarse. "No. But you were saved anyway. Now you owe a debt." The old woman's gaze sharpened. "Tell us about your wagon train. What happened?" Abigail's hands began to shake. She saw it again. The flames, the screams, her mother's face as she shoved Abigail toward the wagon, shouting, "Run, run, run." "They came at dawn," she whispered. "We thought we were safe. The guy said this was peaceful territory, that we'd have no trouble if we stayed on the trail." Her throat tightened. "We were making breakfast. Papa was joking with Mr. Harrison about whose coffee was worse." Then the shooting started. "How many attackers?" Winona asked gently. "I don't know. 20? 30? They were everywhere at once." Abigail closed her eyes, but that made it worse. They wore feathers and paint. They ululated, made those high-pitched cries. They spoke in your language. Mato, Luta, and Winona exchanged a long look. "Describe the feathers," the grandmother said. "Aye, what?" "The feathers. What kind? How were they worn?" Abigail struggled to remember through the haze of terror. "Eagle feathers, I think. Tied in their hair. Some had them on staves. In the paint, red and black mostly. Stripes across their faces." The grandmother's expression darkened. "Winona, fetch your father. Now." Chief Mato listened to Abigail's story without interruption, his face carved from granite. When she finished, silence filled the tent like smoke. Finally, he spoke. "The men who attacked your wagon train were not Lakota." Abigail stared at him. "I saw them. I know what I saw." "You saw what someone wanted you to see." Mato leaned forward. "Eagle feathers worn loose in the hair. That is not our way. We earn each feather through acts of courage, and they are bound with ceremony and meaning. Red and black paint and stripes. That is theatrical, something from white men's picture books." "You're saying they were pretending?" Abigail's voice rose. "Why would anyone do that?" "To justify a war," Mato said quietly, "to give the cavalry permission to hunt us without restraint." The words landed like stones in deep water, sending ripples through Abigail's understanding of everything that had happened. "But I heard them speaking. A few words any trader could learn," Matalute interrupted. "War cries that sound savage to white ears. It is not difficult to play a role when your audience is terrified." Abigail shook her head, trying to reject what they were saying, but pieces were clicking into place. The attackers had seemed almost too wild, too perfectly savage. And afterward, when she crept out from under the wagon, she'd found something strange. "There was a button," she said slowly, "on the ground near Papa's body. A brass button with an eagle on it, like the kind soldiers wear." Mato's eyes closed briefly. "When?" 3 days ago. Maybe 4. Near the Cheyenne River crossing. The same day, Winona whispered, that the cavalry patrol claimed they were ambushed by Lakota warriors 50 miles north of here. Mato stood abruptly, pacing the small tent like a caged wolf. They are manufacturing evidence, creating incidents that justify their campaigns against us. But why kill innocent settlers? Abigail demanded. Those were families. Children. Because dead settlers demand vengeance, Mato said, his voice heavy with bitter understanding. Living settlers might ask questions, might wonder why we broke a treaty we had honored for 2 years. But bodies tell a simple story. Indians are savages. Indians must be stopped. He turned to face her, and Abigail saw something she hadn't expected, shared grief. My wife and son were killed 8 moons ago, Mato said quietly. They were gathering berries near the river. Soldiers found them. Said afterward they thought they were enemy scouts. His jaw tightened. My wife was wearing a dress. My son was 6 winters old. But the soldiers saw only Indians, and Indians are always the enemy. Abigail's eyes burned with tears. She thought she had no more left to cry. I'm sorry, as am I, for your loss. Mato crouched beside her, but apologies changed nothing. What matters now is truth. If rogue soldiers are staging massacres to blame on my people, this will not end with your wagon train. They will do it again and again until they have the war they want. What can we do? The words escaped before Abigail could stop them. We, as if she were part of this, part of them. You can testify, Winona said. Tell the authorities what you saw. The button, the discrepancies, make them investigate. They won't believe me, Abigail said. I'm just a farmer's daughter. Who would listen? The newspapers would, Mato said. If you could reach for Laramie, if you could speak to the commander there, Colonel Preston is said to be an honest man, or as honest as any soldier can be. That's 3 days' ride, Mataluta said, and the cavalry will be searching for survivors. If this woman disappeared from the massacre site, they will want to find her, dead or alive, but preferably dead. A chill ran down Abigail's spine. You think they kill me? Their own people? You are a witness to their crimes, Mato said grimly. What do you think? Before Abigail could answer, shouts erupted outside. Takoda burst into the tent, breathing hard. Riders approaching from the east. 20, maybe more. His eyes flicked to Abigail with undisguised hostility. And from the west, my brother's band. They heard we are harboring a white woman. Mato's expression hardened. How long? The cavalry will be here by sunset. My brother's warriors by nightfall. Then we are out of time. Mato looked at Abigail. Can you ride? I think so. Good. Because both armies are coming for you and neither one wants you alive. Or she could lie. Takoda shot back. Her people are skilled at deception. Then we will know the truth when she speaks, Mato said. I have decided. She will be cared for until she recovers enough to answer our questions. After that, the council will decide her fate. Takoda's jaw tightened. You risk bringing the cavalry down on our camp. The cavalry is already hunting us. One dying woman will not change that. Mato stood, signaling the council's end. My word is final. The warriors filed out, most wearing expressions of doubt or disapproval. Takoda was the last to leave, pausing at the entrance. Mercy is a luxury, Mato. We cannot afford it. Then we are already defeated, Mato replied. Go, rest. Tomorrow brings enough trouble without borrowing more tonight. In the healing tent, Winona worked with steady hands and a racing heart. The white woman lay on a bed of buffalo hides, her breathing shallow and irregular. Winona had seen death approach many times, knew its rhythm, recognized its scent. This woman stood at the threshold, 1 foot already across. She dribbled water between cracked lips, just drops at first. Too much would make her vomit, waste precious moisture. The woman's throat convulsed, swallowing by instinct rather than consciousness. Good. The body still fought. Winona crushed herbs between her palms. Yarrow for the fever, sage for purification, willow bark for pain. She mixed them with rendered fat, creating a paste that she spread across the worst of the sunburns. The woman's skin had blistered so badly it wept clear fluid. Why does father do this? Asked Takoda, Winona's younger sister, who sat nearby grinding more herbs. She is our enemy. She is a person, Winona corrected gently. Enemy is what we make people, not what they are born as. The soldiers did not see our brother as a person when they killed him. The word struck like an arrow. Winona's hand stilled over the woman's burned face. Her brother Kohana had been 16 when the cavalry ambushed his hunting party 2 winters ago. They left his body in a ravine, not even bothering to take his weapons or horse. Just killed him because they could. No, Winona said softly. They did not. And that is why we must be different. Otherwise, Kohana died for nothing. Takoda said nothing, but tears traced silent paths down her cheeks. The white woman stirred, moaning something unintelligible. Her eyes flickered open, pale blue, filled with confusion and terror. She saw Winona's face hovering above her and screamed, a raw sound that came from somewhere deep and broken. No, please. I hid. I didn't see anything. She thrashed weakly, trying to escape but lacking the strength to do more than twist beneath the blankets. Winona caught her shoulders, firm but gentle. Be still, you are safe. But the woman couldn't hear past her own panic. They killed everyone. Mama and Papa and Grace. Grace was only 7. There was so much blood. Listen to me, Winona said, switching to English she learned from traders. You are safe. No one will hurt you here. The words seemed to penetrate. The woman's wild eyes focused on Winona's face, searching for truth or lies, for mercy or death. She whispered, you're one of them, the ones who attacked us. We attacked no one, Winona said firmly. My people have been camped here for 3 full moons. We have raided no settlements, harmed no travelers. But I saw the feathers, the war paint. What you saw and what is true may be different things. Winona released her shoulders, reaching for a water skin. Drink, then we will talk. The woman stared at the offered water like it might be poisoned. Thirst won over caution. She drank greedily, coughing, then drinking more. What is your name? Winona asked. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Abigail Carter. I am Winona. You collapsed near our camp. My father, Chief Mato, ordered you saved and healed. Why? The question carried such raw confusion it was painful to hear. 'Cause he believes mercy is not weakness, Winona said, though many in our camp disagree. Abigail's face crumpled. You should have let me die. Everyone else is dead. I should be too. Death is easy, Abigail Carter. Living takes courage. Winona stood, gathering her supplies. Rest now. Tomorrow, you will need your strength. There are many who want you gone, and you will need to convince them you deserve to stay alive. She left Abigail alone in the tent, staring up at the smoke hole where stars were beginning to emerge. Outside, Takoda watched from the shadows, his hand still resting on his knife. The camp transformed within minutes. Women gathered children and essential belongings, moving with practiced efficiency born from too many forced relocations. Warriors checked weapons, their faces grim. Mato stood in the center of it all, issuing orders with calm authority that somehow made the chaos feel manageable. Abigail watched from the tent entrance, her legs still weak but her mind racing. She brought this down on them. These people had saved her life, and now they would pay for that mercy with blood. I should leave, she said when Winona returned with fresh clothing. If I'm gone, maybe they'll have no reason to attack. You would not make it a mile, Winona replied, handing her a buckskin dress. Put this on. Your own clothes mark you as a target from a distance. This is wrong. I'm not one of you. I shouldn't. What you should or should not be does not matter now. Winona's voice was sharp but not unkind. What matters is survival. Yours and ours. Change. Quickly. Abigail stripped off her torn dress, wincing as the fabric pulled at her healing burns. The buckskin felt strange against her skin, softer than she'd expected, smelling of smoke and sage. When she emerged, Winona braided her long brown hair, weaving in leather strips. There, Winona said, stepping back to examine her work. From a distance, you could be Lakota. It may buy us time. Outside, Takoda was arguing with Mato, his voice carrying across the camp. Send her out to meet them. Let the cavalry have her. She is their problem, not ours. And when they asked why she was in our camp, When they use her presence as proof, we attack the wagon train. Mato's voice remained level. You think they will simply take her and leave? They will use this as justification to slaughter us all. Then kill her now, Takoda said coldly. Leave the body where the cavalry can find it. They can blame other whites, other Indians, anyone but us. Mato's hand shot out. You will not speak of murder in my presence. Do you understand? Takoda jerked away, his face flushed with anger and something else. Fear, maybe, or shame. You are leading us to destruction because you are too weak to make hard choices. No, said a new voice. He is leading us to honor because he is strong enough to make the right ones. Everyone turned. Hanska, the elder warrior, approached on horseback, flanked by two younger men. He dismounted stiffly, age showing in the careful way he moved. I rode ahead to scout the cavalry's position, Hanska said. They are not coming as a patrol. This is a hunting party. 40 soldiers well armed, moving fast. Mato's jaw tightened. And from the west? My scouts report Takoda's brother Akecheta leads 30 warriors. They fly war flags, Hanska paused. They believe you have betrayed the people by sheltering a white woman. They come to restore honor. By spilling blood? By giving the cavalry exactly what they want, Mato shook his head. Akecheta was always more passionate than wise. He lost his daughter to smallpox last winter, Hanska said quietly. A disease brought by white settlers. His grief has turned to rage, and rage makes men blind. Takoda stepped forward. My brother is not blind. He sees what you refuse to, Dad. We are at war whether you admit it or not. Every day we lose ground. Every treaty is broken. How many more of our people must die before you fight back? I have fought more battles than you have seen winters, boy, Mato said, his voice dropping to something dangerous. I know the cost of war. I know what it looks like when your friends die in your arms, when you burn your own villages so the enemy cannot use them. Do not lecture me about fighting. Then why do you hesitate now? Because I also know what happens when we lose. Mato's eyes swept across the gathered warriors. And make no mistake, if we go to war with the United States, we will lose. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. They have more soldiers than we have arrows, more guns than we have warriors. The only question is how many of our people die before the end comes. Silence fell over the camp like a shroud. Abigail stepped forward, her legs trembling but her voice steady. Then let me go to them. Let me tell the cavalry the truth about what I saw. Maybe if they know their own soldiers committed the massacre. They already know, Chayton said, speaking for the first time, or at least their commanders do. You think this plan could work without someone in authority ordering it? The implications crashed over Abigail like a cold wave. You're saying the army is deliberately killing its own people? I am saying some men value power more than lives, Chayton replied. White lives, Indian lives, it makes no difference to them. They want land, and they want us gone. Massacres serve that purpose. Winona touched Abigail's arm. There is another way. Fort Laramie is 3 days' ride, but there's a telegraph station at Deer Creek, less than a day from here. If we could get you there, you could send a message to the territorial governor, to newspapers in the East. Expose what is happening before they can silence you. The cavalry will have men at Deer Creek, Hanska said. They will be watching all the stations. That we make them watch the wrong direction, Mato said, his eyes brightening with the first hint of a plan. Takoda, despite your anger, you are a skilled rider. Take 5 men and head north fast and loud. Make the cavalry think we are fleeing toward the Black Hills. Takoda's expression shifted from anger to calculation. And while they chase us, Winona takes Abigail south to Deer Creek, staying low and quiet. Mato turned to his daughter. Can you do this? Winona met his gaze without flinching. Yes. And Akecheta's warriors? Chayton asked. They will not be fooled by a decoy. Mato's face hardened. Then I will speak with my old friend. Remind him who we are and what we stand for. If words fail, he touched a knife at his belt. Then we defend our choice. Hanska stepped closer, lowering his voice. Mato, if you are wrong about this woman, if she betrays us or if her testimony means nothing, our people will pay the price for your mercy. I know, Mato said quietly, but if I am right, We may stop a war before it destroys us all. That is a risk worth taking. He looked at Abigail, and she saw the weight of leadership in his eyes, the burden of choosing between certain survival and possible salvation. Can you ride, Abigail Carter? She thought of her family, dead in the sand. Of Grace's laughter silenced forever. Of the lies that had killed them and would kill countless others if left unchallenged. Yes, she said. I can ride. The sun hung low and blood red when the cavalry appeared on the eastern ridge. Mato watched them through the shimmering heat, counting silhouettes against the dying light. 42 soldiers, just as Hanska had reported. They moved in formation, disciplined and deliberate. Not a patrol, but execution squad. Behind them, the camp had emptied of those who could not fight. The elders, women, and children had fled south under cover of the hills, taking the horses and what supplies they could carry. Only 20 warriors remained, standing in a loose semicircle around their chief. 20 against 42. The math was brutal. They would demand we surrender the woman, Hanska said quietly, standing at Mato's right shoulder. And when we say she is not here, they will search the camp. Then they will burn it. Mato nodded. He had expected nothing less. Winona and Abigail left an hour ago, heading southeast through the canyon. If they ride hard and stay low, they will reach Deer Creek by morning. If, Mato repeated. The word carried the weight of every uncertainty, every risk he had gambled with his people's lives. From the west, dust rose in the distance. Akacheta's war party, closing fast, trapped between two armies, both coming to destroy them for the same reason, mercy. The cavalry halted 300 yards out, a single rider separated from the formation, approaching under a white flag. Mato stepped forward to meet him, Hanska and Chayton flanking him. The soldier was young, barely 20, with lieutenant's bars on his shoulders and fear in his eyes. He sat too stiff in his saddle, like a man expecting arrows in his back. I am Lieutenant Nathan Kimball, he called out when they were 30 feet apart. I carry a message from Captain Raymond Morris. Speak, Mato said. Kimball cleared his throat. We are searching for a survivor from the wagon train massacre that occurred 4 days ago near Cheyenne River. A young woman, brown hair, approximately 20 years old. We have reports she was seen in this area. No such woman is in our camp. Then you will not object to allowing us to search. It was not a question. I object to armed soldiers entering my camp without invitation, Mato said evenly. I object to being treated as criminals when we have honored every treaty. I object to your presence on land promised to my people by your own government. Kimball's jaw tightened. Sir, I have my orders. Your orders, Mato interrupted, were written by men who murdered 12 families and dressed it as an Indian raid. We know the truth, Lieutenant. The question is whether you do. The young officer's face paled. For a moment, something flickered in his expression. Doubt, maybe, or the first crack in certainty. I don't know what you're talking about, he said, but the words came too quickly. Then tell me, Mato said, taking a step closer, why your men seek this woman so urgently. If she is a survivor, should you not celebrate her rescue? Why hunt her like prey unless you fear what she might say? Kimball opened his mouth, closed it. Behind him, the cavalry line shifted restlessly. I will give you one chance, Lieutenant, Mato said quietly. Ride back to your captain. Tell him the woman is not here. Tell him we want no war. Then leave our lands and do not return. I cannot do that. Cannot, or will not. Before Kimball could answer, gunfire cracked across the desert. The lieutenant jerked in his saddle, a red bloom spreading across his shoulder. He tumbled sideways, hitting the ground hard. Mato spun toward the sound. On the western ridge, Akacheta's warriors lined the crest, rifles raised. His brother-in-law sat astride a painted stallion, his face twisted with righteous fury. No more talking, Akacheta's voice carried across the valley. No more treaties, no more mercy for those who destroy us. The cavalry formation erupted into motion. Soldiers scattered for cover, rifles coming up. Officers shouted orders that were lost in the chaos. Mato's warriors stood frozen, caught in the crossfire they had tried desperately to avoid. Take cover, Mato roared, diving behind a rocky outcrop as bullets began to fly in earnest. Chayton dragged the wounded lieutenant behind the same rocks, probably saving the young man's life. Blood pulsed from Kimball's shoulder in rhythm with his racing heart. "This is madness," the lieutenant gasped. "We were not ordered to fire." "Neither were we," Mato said grimly, tearing a strip from his shirt to bind the wound. "But now the war has started whether we wanted it or not." Akecheta's warriors charged down the western slope, their war cries splitting the air. The cavalry, thinking themselves under attack, opened fire with devastating precision. 3 of Akecheta's men fell in the first volley, but the militant warriors did not retreat. They crashed into the cavalry line like a thunderstorm, close quarters fighting erupting across the desert floor. "We have to stop this," Hanska said, crouched beside Mato. "They are killing each other over a woman who is not even here." "They are killing each other because they were always going to," Mato said. "We just gave them an excuse." A cavalry sergeant appeared around the rocks, rifle raised. He saw Kimball bleeding on the ground, saw Chayton's hands covered in the lieutenant's blood, and made the only assumption that made sense to him. "Murdering savages," he snarled, finger tightening on the trigger. Takoda's arrow took him in the throat before he could fire. The sergeant collapsed, gurgling, dying in the sand. "So much for avoiding war," Takoda said bitterly, knocking another arrow. Mato looked at the young warrior, at the anger and fear and desperate conviction in his eyes, and recognized the look of a man who had been proven right at the worst possible time. "And you still lead the decoy party north?" Mato asked. "What is the point now?" "The fighting has already begun." "The point," Mato said, gripping Takoda's shoulder, "is that Winona and Abigail are still riding toward Deer Creek. The point is that someone might still live to tell the truth. The point is that not every battle is won with arrows." Takoda stared at him for a long moment, then nodded once, sharply. "I would take 6 men. We ride in 5 minutes." He melted into the chaos, gathering warriors with sharp whistles and hand signals. Mato turned back to the battlefield. Akecheta's remaining warriors had broken through the cavalry line, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Knives flashed in the dying light. Men screamed and died on both sides. This was the war he had tried to prevent. The war that would justify everything the cavalry wanted to do. The war that would end with his people scattered or dead. Unless Abigail reached Deer Creek. Unless the truth proved stronger than lies. "Hanska," Mato said, "gather our warriors. We do not fight for victory today. We fight for time." "How much time?" Mato calculated distances, riding speeds, telegraph transmission times. "Until dawn. If we can hold until dawn, Abigail will have sent her message. After that," he shrugged, "after that, we trust that mercy was not a mistake." Hanska's weathered face creased in what might have been a smile. "You are either the wisest man I have ever known, or the greatest fool." "Perhaps both," Mato said. "Now let us go remind Akecheta why I am chief and he is not." They rose together, weapons in hand, and charged into the storm. Winona heard the gunfire when they were 5 miles from camp. The sound rolled across the desert like distant thunder, sharp cracks followed by the deeper boom of rifles. Abigail pulled her horse to a stop, turning in the saddle. "We have to go back," she said. "They're fighting because of me." "We go back and they die for nothing," Winona replied, her voice hard. "We reach Deer Creek and they die for something. Choose." Abigail's hands trembled on the reins. Every instinct screamed at her to turn around, to fix what she had broken. But Winona was already riding again, pushing her horse into a punishing gallop across the rocky ground. Abigail followed, tears streaming down her face, listening to the battle fade behind them. At the camp, Mato crashed into Akecheta like a landslide. The 2 men went down in a tangle of limbs, rolling across the sand. They had wrestled as boys, hunted together as young men, stood beside each other at Mato's wedding. But those memories meant nothing now. "You fool!" Mato roared, pinning Akecheta's shoulders. "You have given them exactly what they wanted. I have given them what they deserve." Akecheta bucked, throwing Mato off. Both men scrambled to their feet, circling. "While you talk of peace, our people die. While you show mercy to our enemies, they sharpen their knives." Around them, the battle raged. Cavalry soldiers fought desperately against Lakota warriors who knew this terrain like their own heartbeats. Bodies littered the ground. Blue uniforms and buckskin mixed together in death's democracy. The woman is gone, Mato said. She rides to expose the truth. If we can hold them here. Truth! A catcher spat. You still believe in their truth? Their justice? He gestured wildly at the carnage. This is their justice. This is what they have always wanted. A bullet whined past Mato's head. He ducked instinctively, saw a cavalry sergeant take an aim for a second shot. Akacheta moved faster, his tomahawk flying end over end to bury itself in the sergeant's chest. For a heartbeat, the two chiefs stared at each other across the blood-soaked ground. We were brothers once, Mato said quietly. We were, Akacheta agreed, before you forgot who your real enemies are. He turned away, rejoining his warriors in their assault on the cavalry line. Mato had no time to grieve. A cavalry captain, Morris, based on the insignia, was rallying his men, trying to form a firing line. If they succeeded, the concentrated volley would cut through the Lakota warriors like wheat before a scythe. Chayton, Hanska, Mato shouted. The captain, bring him down. But the words were barely out of his mouth when Takoda appeared, leading 6 mounted warriors at a full gallop. They crashed into the forming line from the flank, scattering soldiers and buying precious seconds. Morris saw his advantage slipping away. He raised his pistol, not at the warriors but at the wounded Lieutenant Kimball, who still lay behind the rocks. Cease fire or I execute your hostage, he screamed. Mato's blood ran cold. He is not our hostage. Your own man shot him. Lying savage, Morris cocked the pistol, pressing it against Kimball's temple. Surrender now or... Takoda's knife took Morris in the back, the blade sliding between ribs to find his heart. The captain's eyes went wide with shock. He stumbled forward, the pistol falling from nerveless fingers. Kimball stared up at Takoda, the young warrior who had just saved his life. Why? The lieutenant whispered. Because not all of us are savages, Takoda said. Then he vaulted back onto his horse and charged toward the northern hills, 6 warriors following, drawing a dozen cavalry soldiers in pursuit. The decoy worked. A third of the remaining cavalry broke off, chasing what they thought was an escape attempt. But the cost was mounting. Mato saw Hanska fall, an arrow from one of Akacheta's overzealous warriors catching him in the leg. Saw Chayton fighting 3 soldiers at once, his knife a blur of deadly precision. Saw young warriors, boys barely old enough to hunt, bleeding into the sand. How much longer? Chayton gasped, appearing at Mato's side. Mato looked at the sky. The sun had set fully now, stars emerging in the darkening blue. Winona and Abigail had been riding for 3 hours, maybe 4 more to Deer Creek. Then time to send the message. Time for it to reach someone who cared. Until dawn, he said. We hold until dawn. Chayton laughed, a sound edged with hysteria. We will all be dead by dawn. Then we died knowing we chose honor over hatred, Mato said. That is enough. A cavalry bugle sounded. Retreat. The remaining soldiers began falling back, dragging their wounded, leaving their dead. They had lost their captain, their advantage, and their certainty. Akacheta's warriors pursued them for 100 yards before Mato's voice cracked like a whip. Let them go. Akacheta wheeled his horse, fury blazing in his eyes. We have them running. We can finish this. We can finish dying, you mean, Mato said. Look around you, brother. Count our dead, count theirs. This is not victory. This is suicide. For the first time, Akacheta seemed to truly see the battlefield. 15 Lakota warriors lay dead or dying. The cavalry had lost nearly 20 men. And for what? For pride? For revenge? For a woman neither side could find? The fight went out of him like air from a punctured lung. He dismounted slowly, walking toward Mato through the carnage they had created together. What have we done? Akacheta whispered. What they wanted us to do, Mato said. Now we must live with it. Dawn broke cold and clear over Deer Creek. Abigail stood in the telegraph office, her hands shaking as the operator tapped out her message. She had told him everything. The massacre, the fake war paint, the brass button, the conspiracy. The operator's face had gone progressively paler as she spoke. Miss, if what you are saying is true, it is true, Winona said from the doorway, her rifle held casually but her eyes scanning the street for cavalry patrols. Send the message. All of it. The operator's key clicked and clattered. sending words racing along copper wires toward territorial governors, newspaper editors, and army headquarters 1,000 miles away. When he finished, he looked up at Abigail with something like awe. "You just started a firestorm, miss." "No," Abigail said, thinking of Grace, of her parents, of Mato's calm face as he chose mercy over safety. "I just told the truth. They started the fire when they killed innocent people and blamed it on those trying to survive. Outside were known as tents. Riders coming. Fast." Abigail's heart seized. "Cavalry?" "No." Winona's expression shifted to relief. "Takoda." The young warrior dismounted in a controlled fall, exhausted and bleeding from a dozen minor wounds, but alive. "The message?" he gasped. "Sent," Abigail said, "to everyone who would listen." Takoda closed his eyes. Then perhaps Mato was right. Perhaps mercy was not weakness after all. What happened at the camp? We fought. We bled. But we held. He looked at Abigail with something that might have been respect. "Mato told me to tell you, your debt is paid. You owe us nothing more." Abigail shook her head. "I owe you everything. All of you." "Then help us change what comes next," Winona said. "The cavalry will deny everything. They will call you a liar, call us savages. You must be willing to speak the truth again and again, to newspapers, to courts, to anyone who will listen." "I will," Abigail promised, "for as long as it takes." Takoda managed the ghost of a smile. "Mato sent me with one more message. He says tell the white woman that mercy was not a mistake. Tell her that choosing compassion in a world of cruelty is the only way to change that world. Tell her," his voice cracked, "tell her she honored my fallen brothers by making their sacrifice mean something." Through the telegraph office window, the sun climbed higher, burning away the last of the night's shadows. Somewhere in the distance, investigators would already be mounting horses, heading toward Cheyenne River to examine a massacre site with new eyes. Newspaper editors would be setting type for stories that would shake the territory. And in Washington, men who had ordered atrocities would feel the first tremors of accountability. One act of mercy multiplied across telegraph wires into 1,000 conversations, 100 investigations, a future forever altered. Mato had been right. Sometimes the bravest thing a warrior can do is choose not to fight. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is save an enemy. Sometimes mercy is not weakness at all. It is revolution.